Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my Survivor Series review. And hope you all had a good Thanksgiving yesterday. And today is Black Friday, so if you guys are going out Black Friday shopping, or if you may have gotten it done, or if you're going out this evening, definitely be careful and stay safe. Or if you do your Black Friday shopping online, that's good. But like I said, this is my Survivor Series review. After this, I'm going to review this past Monday's Raw. So I just finished watching Survivor Series. It just ended, just finished it a few minutes ago. And it was from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Didn't get a chance to see it on Sunday because I was working. And gotta say, this year's Survivor Series, I thought it was a decent show. I liked Survivor Series this year. It was a decent show. And gonna start with the match that was on the pre-show. And the match on the pre-show was the 10-on-10 Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination Match. It was Team SmackDown versus Team Raw. For SmackDown, it was the Usos, the New Day, Sanity, Gallows and Anderson, and the Colognes. And for Team Raw, it was Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, the Revival, the B Team, Lucha House Party, which was Lince Dorado, Kalisto and Gran Metalik, and the Ascension. And this was a decent 10-on-10 Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination match. It was pretty decent. Back and forth between the teams for Team SmackDown and Team Raw. You of course had mostly jobbers on Raw, on Team Raw. From the B Team and Lucha House Party. I mean, they've been winning quite a few matches. And you had the Ascension, of course, jobbers. But Team SmackDown ended up getting the win because the Usos end up winning. So the Usos win the 10-on-10 Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination Match. But it was a decent Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination Match. I don't know if it officially counts as SmackDown winning because it's on the pre-show. Because it was it could be one, but we'll get to that when I talk about the matches, the regular matches. But all in all, like I said, it was a decent 10-on-10 Survivor Series Elimination Tag Team match. And the next was the star of the show. This goes into the regular matches now, and it was the 5-on-5 Survivor Series Women's Elimination Match. Raw versus SmackDown. For Team Raw, it was Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Bayley, and Sasha Banks, which Bayley and Sasha ended up replacing Natalya and Ruby Riott because during the pre-show, Ruby and Natalya got in a fight, and eventually Alexa had to take off Ruby and Natalya from the team. Of course, Alexa was the team captain. And for SmackDown, it was Naomi, who is the team captain. Carmella, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Mandy Rose, which Mandy Rose was replacing Charlotte because Charlotte was originally going to be on the Team SmackDown team. But this women's match, it was decent. It was back and forth. between them. Really enjoyed seeing Bayley and Sasha be on Team Raw because they deserved to be on it, in my opinion. Even though that stupid match that they had on Raw last week, where they both didn't end up winning the match. But Raw ended up getting the win. Nia Jax ended up winning for Team Raw. So, but the women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series Elimination Match, it was decent. And this crowd, this Los Angeles crowd, they were against Raw for the pay-per-view. Mostly the people in the crowd, you could tell that they were behind SmackDown, because whenever Nia end up coming back in and just taking out one member from SmackDown, the crowd was booing, and the crowd was against Raw. They were mostly SmackDown fans. So that was that. Team Raw for the women's end up winning. Nia Jax ends up winning it for them. And then we had Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which this was a good match. This was a very entertaining match. Both of these guys did a good job in this match. Very, very good wrestling from the both of them. And Seth Rollins ended up winning the match. He ended up hitting the stomp to Nakamura. You had a point where Nakamura was going for the Kinshasa. Seth Rollins ended up reversing it, and he was doing doing some moves on Nakamura. But all in all, it was a good match. It was a very entertaining match between Seth Rollins and Nakamura. Then we had AOP versus Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar. Big Show, of course, was out with them. And right when the match started, you saw something happen in the crowd. And it was revealed that Enzo Amore was in the crowd. And he was, hijacking the show in the crowd. But we saw, the video that surfaced online of him, because he was disguised. He was wearing a disguised wig, and he was wearing a hoodie, and he started making a scene, and he was standing on his chair. He was dancing, cutting a promo, and then the security escorted him out of the building. He was eventually banned from re-entering the building. And there was also a report saying that Enzo bumped into a woman, which caused that woman to get knocked over, and she ended up getting injured. So that was what happened, and you could clearly see it when the match begins, when the AOP and the Bar match started, because you could see the crowd looking at him. But to me, that was pretty much one of the highlights of the pay-per-view. So, but AOP and the Bar, it was a good match. It was a decent match. These guys, showed some, had some really good wrestling in this match. And of course, you had at one point where I think it was Cesaro. He was chasing after Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick ended up running into the Big Show, and the Big Show ended up, I guess he ended up choking Drake Maverick, and Maverick ended up pissing his pants, which was hilarious seeing, because from what I heard, the prop that Drake Maverick was using, I guess, to show that he pissed himself failed, and he really ended up pissing himself, which was funny. And you know, that laugh from the, you can see like the Big Show laughing. After that, it was funny, and the look on the referee's face that was refereeing the match was funny. It was hilarious, and it eventually led to AOP end up hitting the last chapter on Sheamus to score the win. So AOP ends up winning the match. So, but all in all, it was a decent match between AOP and the Bar. And of course, you know, Raw won the first match, of course, with Nia Jax winning. Seth Rollins, that was 2. Raw was up by 2. AOP brought Raw up to 3. So, and then we had Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Championship. And this was a really good match. This was a very entertaining match between Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali. Really enjoyed their rivalry on 205 Live, because this is not the first time that that both of them went at it. They had a lot of good 205 Live matches. Well, matches that you know were on 205 Live. But Buddy Murphy, I really enjoy. I think he's a really good superstar. He's good in the ring. Mustafa Ali is very entertaining. One of my favorites on the Cruiserweights. To me, I think he is the face of 205 Live. And just the match, it was back and forth. Both of these guys gave it all they got. Really enjoyed that move that Mustafa Ali did from the announce table. He did that flip off the announce table to Buddy Murphy, which that was impressive looking. But Buddy Murphy ended up getting the win. Ended up hitting his signature finisher, which is called Murphy's Law, on Mustafa Ali to score the win. And so Buddy Murphy still retains the Cruiserweight Championship in a really good, entertaining match. So, but you know, this match didn't count for you know, Raw or SmackDown, for a Raw or SmackDown point. So, but next up was the 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series Elimination Match. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. For Team Raw, it was Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley. Of course, Baron Corbin was the leader of Team Raw. And for SmackDown, it was The Miz and Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. Miz was the team captain. Corbin, of course, was team captain for Raw. And this was a good match. This was a good 5-on-5 Survivor Series Elimination match for the men. I have to say it was much better than last year's men's match, which last year's men's match was good, but it was kind of a mess. If you watch back at last year's men's Survivor Series match for both Raw and SmackDown, it was very messy, but in a sense it was still good. It was still decent. But you had Shane McMahon. He ended up, one of the highlights of the match was Shane McMahon delivering a flying elbow to Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was on the announce table, and Shane ended up delivering that elbow to Strowman, breaking the announce table. And you know, we didn't see Shane. You know, after that, we saw him back. You know, later on in the match. But you had very entertaining part where Shane comes back in. He ends up delivering a coast to coast. I think it was on Drew McIntyre, I believe, and the match ended with Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley win the men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series Elimination Match. And so, because you had Strowman end up delivering a power slam to Mysterio, and that eventually led to Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley being the sole survivors of the men's Survivor Series match. And of course, after the match, Corbin ends up coming in. He ends up cheap shotting Strowman, which sets off their match that they're gonna have. Corbin and Strowman. So, but all in all, it was a good men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. It was much better than last year, in my opinion. Then we had Charlie Caruso was interviewing Seth Rollins about his victory over Shinsuke Nakamura. Seth said for the past weeks he's been focused on Dean Ambrose, and he feels lucky to come out with the victory. And Caruso ends up telling Seth that at TLC, which is the next pay-per-view, which I think is the final pay-per-view of the year, Seth will be defending the Intercontinental Championship against Dean Ambrose. So, and then Seth says, Ambrose has been hiding ever since he stuck a knife in both him and Roman's back. He goes on to say that at TLC, Ambrose is going to have nowhere else to hide, because he mentions, Ambrose, has been, hiding, and he won't come face to face with Seth. So, but it was a good interview with Seth Rollins. Good little interview. And then we had Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte, and this was a very entertaining match. This was a good match, but up until the end, very competitive match for the both of them. And you had Charlotte end up taking down Ronda, being very competitive. She ended up elbowing Ronda, busting her up, making her bleed. And Ronda ended up winning the match by disqualification, because Charlotte comes and she uses a kendo stick, and she hits the kendo stick at Ronda. And that eventually caused the DQ. And after the match, Charlotte ends up keeping on hitting Ronda with the kendo stick. Very crazy. This was sensing a tease heel turn for Charlotte. And we had the officials come out to try and break it up. Charlotte end up pushing the officials. There's a chair that was in the ring, and Charlotte end up hitting the natural selection on Ronda on the chair. And more officials, more refs end up coming out. Charlotte then starts attacking the refs, and she ends up taking the chair that was in the ring that she hit the natural selection on Ronda with. She takes that chair, wraps the chair around Ronda's neck, and ends up stomping on the chair, which was really crazy. So this is a sense of Charlotte, of T's heel turn by Charlotte. So, but it's what we saw on Tuesday night on SmackDown. Where Charlotte's not a full heel yet because she ended up taking on the Iconics on Tuesday night. So it was heel versus heels. So, but overall, it was a good match between Ronda and Charlotte. Very competitive match for the both of them. Even though it ended in a DQ, which I know this is probably not going to be the last time that Ronda and Charlotte go at it. Eventually, all this rumor talk saying about how this was going to be that their second match was going to be at WrestleMania, but from what I heard, they want to put Becky and Ronda for the main event at WrestleMania. It's what WWE wants to do now. But who knows? But I have a sense that either Ronda is going to possibly take on Charlotte again at WrestleMania, or it's going to be Becky. So we'll have to find that out. And then we had the main event, which was Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. And this match itself, it was meh to me. The first, when the match began, it was just the same old shit with Lesnar hitting suplex after suplex after suplex. Kind of made the match, suck from there. In my opinion, because it was just Lesnar suplex, 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 suplex. It's what we see with Lesnar, same old shit with him. Then we saw Lesnar was trying to attempt to hit a F5, a second F5 on Daniel Bryan, and after that, Lesnar ended up accidentally hitting the referee, and the referee was down, and Daniel Bryan ended up coming back. He ended up blowing Lesnar. Bryan ended up performed a running knee on Lesnar. Daniel Bryan ended up getting a near fall, and Daniel Bryan began to target Brock Lesnar's knee, slammed Lesnar's knee into the ring post, and Brock Lesnar then attempted to hit another F5, but it ended up failing because his knee ended up giving out. And so Daniel Bryan ended up locking in the yes lock on Lesnar, which we all thought possibly Lesnar, was going to tap out. It would have been a shock if Lesnar ended up tapping out. But Daniel Bryan then applied a triangle hold on Lesnar. But, Lesnar countered it, ended up hitting the F5 on Daniel Bryan. 3 count win. Brock Lesnar wins the match. So with that, it led to Raw getting the lead. They end up finishing Survivor Series 6-0, which why did they have to give Raw all the wins for a show that's been shit after shit every week? I mean, they could have let SmackDown get a point. I mean, if you count the kickoff match with the Usos winning, should have been 6-1. But no, WWE end up having SmackDown go out of Survivor Series with 0, with nothing, with no score. They gave it all. They gave it all to Raw. Why? I actually why? For a show, for Raw that's been shit after shit every single week. They deliver terrible shows every single week, and WWE gives Raw all the scores. Not even 1 point for SmackDown, which they should have counted the kickoff match with the Usos winning. I don't know. I don't know. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This just makes SmackDown look like the C show, or the B show as that they would call it. And they have to say that Raw is the A show. Wrong. You know what the A show is? NXT. NXT is the A show for WWE. SmackDown, yeah, the B show. Raw should be the fucking F show, considering they deliver shit after shit shows every single Monday. So, but yeah, so anyways, that's it for my Survivor Series review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. And definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I will see you all back here later for the Raw review.